The White House once again officially threatening China with up to 245% tariffs. Tomorrow it's going to be 1,000,000%. I don't know why they just stopped accepting packages from China. Just get it over with already. Yesterday it was called off. Today it's 245. Tomorrow it'll be 1,000,000,000,000%. It's just stupid. It's chaos. No one knows what's going on. But like I told you last time, you can make money when the market drops, just like you can when the market goes up. As long as you know it's going to drop, you can just short the market. And this is exactly what they're doing. He has a light switch for tariffs. He turns that light switch on, the market drops. He turns it off, the market goes back up. Literally just influencing the market to funnel money in his own pockets, folks. It's the infinite money glitch. And then he did it, apparently. The United States announces 245% tariffs on imports from China. Some people are like, you just like your cheap Chinese good, Dusty. Hey, I'm all for fair trade, to be honest with you. I'm totally fair trade. Fair trade means insisting that China and other countries pay their workers a fair wage. We're not even going to import your products unless you're paying your workers a fair wage, unless you're giving them working conditions similar to the working conditions in our country, where your workers are safe and treated well. Because honestly, it's hard for American businesses to compete with Chinese businesses when our businesses have rules and regulations that cost them more money to make products than China's does. So insisting that they bring up their worker standards, their pay and stuff, is completely reasonable. But tariffs don't in any way fucking do that. They still have these shitty working conditions. They still pay them a pittance, but now we have to pay more for their goods and services. It's just a tax on us that does nothing for fair trade whatsoever. So, how high will it go, folks? How high do you think? Donald Trump, I hold the cards. Yeah, the cards are made in China, just like your shitty hats and T-shirts, Donald Trump. You got nothing, buddy. China is fucking steamrolling us. And this video, made by a Chinese nationalist, is very well spoken. I'm going to play it for you guys. Now, it does have a bit more Chinese government propaganda that I like. I don't agree with everything in this. But the part where he's speaking about America is dead motherfucking on.
This is a post from a Chinese national saying, you guys are all blaming China, you're blaming us, but it's really your own fault, and America now needs a revolution.
They rob you blind, and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs won't ship your job to China. Not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodge tax, and poured billions into endless wars.
Preach.
And you get stagnated wages, crippling healthcare cost.
Yep.
Cheap dopamine, debt, and flagged wave probably made in China while they pick your pocket.
Yep.
For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies.
Yep.
Well, they made you fat, poor, and addicted.
Yep.
Now they blame China for mess they made.
Yep.
I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need a revolution.
100%. We need a revolution, folks. Now, we're going to get one eventually. It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of how much pain they're going to deliver upon us before people get too sick of it. Now, I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for a revolution. I'm just pointing out that it's going to happen. I didn't cause it. I'm not causing any of this, okay? I'm not causing Elon Musk to take your grandma's Social Security away from you. I'm not causing Donald Trump to loot our coffers, make us a pariah state to the rest of the world. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just reporting it. I'm just pointing out what it is absolutely going to fucking happen. It has to. It's untenable. And China ain't fucking playing it, y'all. China bans airlines from accepting Boeing deliveries. Uh-oh, Boeing's in trouble. China has barred its country's airlines from accepting deliveries from Boeing in retaliation against Donald Trump's tariffs. Boeing has been caught in the middle of the clash, losing access to one of the world's biggest aviation markets in the process. The ban will apply to all existing orders from the U.S. manufacturing giant, while Beijing has also told the country's carriers not to buy any aircraft-related equipment or parts from other American companies. Boeing's shares slumped as much as 4.5% in pre-market trading following these reports. Hey, you got some Boeing, you backed this shit, didn't you? Well fucking deserved. And yes, the economy going to take a huge hit. One thing after another. Chinese purchases of American oil are down 90%, y'all, year over year. While Chinese purchases of Canadian oil are up 700%. Yet Trump has made an enemy out of everybody, all our trading partners. So now they're trading with each other. They're bypassing us. And no, that's not good for our fucking economy. It's all going to add up, folks. Hard times ahead. In Hong Kong, the Postal Service is not going to be shipping packages to the U.S. anymore. That seems bad. The government of the United States announced earlier that it would eliminate the duty-free de minimis treatment for postal items dispatched from Hong Kong to the U.S. and increase the tariffs for postal items containing goods to the U.S. The U.S. is unreasonable, bullying, and imposing tariffs abusively. Hong Kong Post will definitely not collect any so-called tariffs on behalf of the U.S. and will suspend the acceptance of postal items containing goods destined to the U.S. So, going to be more difficult to buy items from Hong Kong for us. I'm sure they have other shipping outlets, but going to be more expensive. Going to be hard to get a hold of, which I guess is the whole point. Limit what you can buy, folks. Travel and products boycotts to cost U.S. $90 billion this year. Trump's policies could cost the U.S. economy $90 billion this year in lost tourism and export revenue, according to an analysis from Goldman Sachs. Yep, nobody wants to come here, folks. The tourism industry drying up. It's hurting airlines, Airbnb, taxi services, hotels, everything in danger. And it's like a snowball, all this on top of each other. Bigger and bigger and bigger. And then on top of that, the dollar is fading. Washington Post, investors ditching U.S. dollar due to trade war. The U.S. dollar is an early casualty of President Donald Trump's us against the world trade war. The dollar has lost almost 10% of its value. That means you have 10% less purchasing power. Since Inauguration Day, with about half of that decline coming this month. Yep. 5% loss in your buying value in 1 month, folks. Yes, this makes items that we get from other countries even more expensive. Now, it does make items that we import to other countries more competitive. Means that we'll probably sell more items to other countries because the prices will be lower in those countries. But at the same time, other countries are boycotting us like a motherfucker. So even that doesn't do us any good. All it does is ensure that whatever products we buy are even more expensive than they already were with all the tariffs and shit. So you're talking about rapid, record, out of control inflation, folks. And on top of that, since we're the biggest suckers and losers on the fucking planet, we're also going to have to bail out the farmers with our tax dollars. Yes. Not only is all the products we buy going to be incredibly more expensive, but also our tax dollars going to go to bail out the people getting fucked over by Donald Trump's stupid ass policies. While he racks in billions of dollars, makes more money than every president in history combined, it's us suckers and losers that got to foot the bill. So this whole tweet, basically he's saying that in so many words, our farmers are getting fucked over, so we're going to bail them out, y'all. Just like we did the first time. The first time when his stupid trade wars, his stupid tariffs sank soybean farmers, cattle farmers, all kinds of farmers. As usual, the taxpayers got to foot the fucking bill. Don't believe me? Here they are basically considering a tariff bailout for farmers.
But a lot of farmers that I've talked to in the last week or so have said, they're in the middle of spring planting season, and that a trade war makes everything sort of up in the air. What would his message to them be? And also, is there anything specifically planned to provide relief like in President Trump's last term?
Yes, well, relief is being considered. The Secretary of Agriculture, I know, has spoken to the president about that.
It's a bailout.
Again, it's being considered. And as for the president's message to the farmers, he put it out himself. He could speak for himself much better than I can speak for him. And so I would just direct you to the statement he had telling the farmers again and reiterating his support for them in that.
Yeah, don't worry. Yes, I'm fucking you over, but I would just bail you out with the cash of these idiot losers in America. So it'll be fine, baby. I'm not bailing them out, but I'll bail you out. Big agriculture, big pharma, big farms. And hey, let's take a look at the Dow Jones to see how that's going today. Dog shit! That's how it's going. Dow down another 700 points today, if you're keeping track. Since Donald Trump gained the presidency, we're down 2,700 points. And that's just the Dow Jones, 6%. So we're talking about over $10 trillion in value lost since he's been president, y'all. Mr. Art of the game, art of the deal. We are fucked, folks. But gaslighting, that's all they do, folks. With a straight face, Donald Trump will say publicly, the United States is taking in record numbers in tariffs. They are not. With the cost of almost all products going down, including gasoline, groceries, and just about everything else. I mean, complete fucking bullshit. Everything is more expensive. Literally everything. Now, gas might have gone down a little bit because nobody's buying products anymore. And because nobody's buying products anymore, truckers aren't driving as much. People aren't driving as much. And yeah, that makes gas go down. When nobody has any fucking money to buy anything, gas prices do go down. Just like when COVID hit. And everybody had to stay home from their jobs, gas prices dropped, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Likewise, inflation is down. Inflation is hugely up. Groceries are hugely up. Everything is hugely up. It's just lie after fucking lie after fucking lie. Promises made, promises kept. Fuck this country. It's so stupid, y'all. It's so stupid, it's boring, to be honest with you. And here's what he's doing it for, folks. Trump has this romanticized idea that he can get rid of income tax. See, rich people don't think they should be paying anything. Taxes are for poor people. They are our rulers. We should just be happy that they're fucking ruling us. They should not have to pay anything into the system whatsoever. So forever, they've had this fantasy about getting rid of the income tax, about passing on the tax burden to the middle class and the lower classes. And their idea since I was a kid, is to move from an income tax to a consumer tax, a sales tax on everything you buy. And this is all this is, folks. This is just their end-around way of getting a sales tax by putting tariffs on everything, which is a tax increase on all of us. And here's the crazy part. The money he will pay in taxes pales in comparison to the money all the rich people are losing. But they're so crazed that literally he would rather lose more money in the stock market. Not him, but he would rather rich people lose more money in the stock market than the money they would actually save for paying their taxes. Now, obviously, he's going to be a trillionaire, folks. Trump's going to be our first trillionaire. Maybe not publicly, but in the Cayman Islands, wherever he has his offshore accounts, he's literally doing stock manipulation. He's literally turning the switch on and off and making unlimited fucking money. So he doesn't give a shit. But anyway, here he is admitting it, folks. The whole thing is about getting rid of the income tax.
El income tax?
You're the only one that's asked me that. Oh, I deal with all these big financial geniuses. Nobody ever. There is a chance that the money from tariffs could be so great that it would replace. In the old days, 18 about 1870
The Gilded
to
Age.
1913, the
That's
tariffs
right before the Great Depression.
were the only form of
Correct.
money. And that's when our nation was relatively the richest.
It
We
wasn't.
were the richest.
It was right at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and a lot of that did make us richer, but it wasn't because of the tariffs.
El income tax.
You know, you're the only
Yep, income tax, get rid of it though, folks. And yes, shift the burden to us. Everything for them and nothing for fucking us. And then this is how the scheme works, folks. Remember when Jimmy Carter put his peanut farm in a trust so there wouldn't be any conflict of interest? Well, True Social scheme will profit from tariff policies. No fucking duh. Trump can boost or depress the price of virtually any stock through the creation or elimination of tariffs. On Tuesday, Trump Media and Technology Group, best known as the parent company of Truth social media platform True Social, announced it was launching a series of actively managed investment accounts. TMTG is marketing these True Social branded separately managed accounts as a way to invest in companies that benefit from Trump's political agenda. And hey, this actually seems like a great thing to invest in if you don't have any morals, because Trump's definitely going to use his position as president to boost up any company that they invest in, right? Why wouldn't he? Nobody is holding him accountable. He's just doing the corruption right out in the open. No checks, no balances, so why the fuck not? Of course, a lot of people crying about it. MAGA tears. Dear President Trump, I am the founder of blah, blah, blah. Oh, while a text basically saying, I voted for you and now you're bankrupting me, but I still suck your dick. Yeah. Have you considered just dying? That's my advice to you. Just die, you know? Maybe stop eating until like you starve to death and die. That's what I would do. You don't have to. Just a suggestion, though. I'm just kidding, though. And tariffs get you when you least expect it. At first, Jonathan Fabworks were like, I'm sad to announce. No, first he was like, yeah, I'm sad to announce due to the tariffs, Fabworks will be raising prices by 0%. All of our value-added services happen under one roof. Ventura, California. That's right, baby. Tariffs don't affect me at all, so I can laugh at it and make fun of it. Love you, Trump. And now he's all like, this aged so poorly. Got slapped with a 50% increase on 661 T6 today from our go-to vendor. Yeah, I love it, motherfucker. I hope you go bankrupt. I hope you fucking starve to death. I hope they take your fucking house. Fuck you. Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. I'm out of F's, y'all. Then the Trump administration froze $2 billion in funding for Harvard. Basically, Trump wants to take over all education. Like I've said many times on the show, I'm actually sort of impressed by how ruthlessly they're doing everything. How brutally they're forcing their agenda on the entire goddamn country. They're not wasting any time, folks. They're taking over everything. And they want complete control of education. Harvard University officials on Monday rejected Trump administration's demand that the school yield to extensive government oversight and make sweeping changes to governance, admissions, and hiring practices. They want to dictate what all the schools teach. They want to dictate who they hire. They want to dictate what the students are allowed to protest. They literally want to dictate what the students are allowed to wear, as in no mask. Terrifying, folks. And if you don't acquiesce to their demands, they just cut off government funding. And if that's not enough, then they use lawfare. They use the full force of the United States government against you to make an example out of you, to scare you, so that everybody else gets in line. And good on Harvard for fighting back, I guess, a little bit. They have so much fucking money at Harvard that they can do that. So then he goes public and he says, perhaps Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status. Yep. See? Every tool in the chest to push their agenda they're doing, folks. And be taxed as a political entity if it keeps pushing political, ideological, and terrorist-inspired supporting sickness. So he's basically talking about anybody speaking out against the child murders is a terrorist now. Also scary language when he also says he's going to send terrorists to the concentration camps of El Salvador. And now they're doing it, folks. Trump moves to revoke Harvard's nonprofit status. And don't get me wrong, folks. I don't give a shit about Harvard. Fuck Harvard. But this is just terrifying that he's doing everything he can to bully, intimidate schools, and then letting the government take over. No free speech. You're not allowed to do what you want. You have to do what the government tells you to do or you're punished. They definitely love fucking free speech, don't they? Free speech absolutists. And then all the sycophants are immediately go online, go on the airwaves to defend this obvious violation of free speech, this obvious bullying of our education system. Elise Stefanik, Harvard is the epitome of moral rot. Yeah, I'm not even going to play it. Fuck that bitch. I know it's a gender slur. I'm sorry, but whatever. And then you got to apologize. Oh, my God, Harvard. I cannot believe you dared stand up to the glorious leader. You're not allowed to do that. So here's what's going to happen. Not only do you guys have to do everything that we say, but you also have to apologize. We don't even care if you do everything we say at this point. It doesn't even matter. You can lay the fuck down and acquiesce to every demand we've given you. But unless you apologize, we're still going to come after you with everything we got.
On Harvard, the president floated on social, I believe, the possibility of removing tax-exempt status. How serious is that threat, and are there other universities he's considering? And then a follow-up question on foreign policy. Can you give us an update on what the president hopes to come from the next round of talks with Iran?
Sure. First, when it comes to Harvard, as I said, the president has been quite clear. They must follow federal law. He also wants to see Harvard apologize, and Harvard should apologize for the egregious anti-Semitism that took place on their college campus.
Anti-Semitism. Being against genocide is anti-Semitic now, folks. What she just said is actually anti-Semitic. That's the crazy part. But it doesn't matter. They rule us now. And this is what it's leading to, folks. Canadian colleges see surge in American applicants. People are fleeing this country. Our education system can no longer be trusted. More students living in the United States are applying to Canadian universities or expressing interest in studying north of the border as U.S. President Donald Trump cuts federal funding. It's a brain drain. And who can blame anybody who wants to escape this hellhole? And then, folks, for any conservatives that say they're for free trade, that they love capitalism, this is bad on so many tips. EPA exempts 66 coal plants from emission rules. So first off, obviously, this is the worst thing that could happen when we have a climate emergency, when we just had the hottest years in record, one after another. We have all kinds of weather anomalies happen, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, the entire world tearing itself apart. And instead of doing anything about it, of course, what do? Accelerate it. I guess we're trying to kill ourselves, and we voted Trump in, so we voted for suicide. I guess slow or fast, either way. But regardless, despite the fact that it's so horrible for climate change, also, isn't this picking winners and losers? I looked it up. These 66 companies being made exempt from these rules, that's equal to $1 billion that these companies don't have to spend anymore in order to meet these emissions rules. So basically, he has given $1 billion to these specific 66 coal plants, which means all the other coal plants that he's not making exempt can no longer compete. So no longer free trade in this country whatsoever. It's Trump picking who succeeds and who fails based on who bribes him the most. It's crony capitalism, folks. And of course, no conservative gives a shit. They don't care about free trade. Whatever the orange goof wants to do, it's fine. And then this is how the corruption works, folks. This is how they do it right out in the open. This is how they don't even have to launder the money. The money is completely clean 100% when they bribe Trump. And it's stuff like this. White House told Warner Brothers should give Coke Jr., Donald Trump's son, his own show. Now, obviously, nobody is going to watch a show with Coke Jr. because he's irritating. He talks funny. He's dumb, ugly, annoying, not smart, doesn't have a good personality. Nothing going for him. Nobody's going to watch the show, but that's not the fucking point. The point is, it gives you an excuse to give him $40 million out in the fucking open. Legalized bribery. Media giant Warner Brothers Discovery was reportedly offered a way into President Donald Trump's good graces. Remember, this is what Amazon did. Amazon gave $40 million to Melania Trump for this documentary that nobody's going to watch. Nobody gives a shit about Melania Trump. They're going to make, if they make $1,000 back off this documentary, I'd be surprised. They're going to lose literally $40 million in this documentary. But that's not the point. The point is, it's a legal way to bribe Donald Trump out in the open. Just like Mark Zuckerberg settled his lawsuit. Remember, Donald Trump sued him. He gave Donald Trump $20 million for nothing. Just to legally bribe him out in the open so they don't have to launder the money. Same thing. Specifically, someone in the Trump orbit told the company that the first son would like to host a nature show on Discovery. According to a sprawling new profile of WBD CEO David Zoloff, written by Michael Wolff for the New York Magazine. The reported message was to look at the example of Amazon and Jeff Bezos paying Melania Trump $40 million to participate in a documentary about herself, he continued. Don Jr. might like a hunting and fishing show on the Discovery Channel, they were told, and that CNN could have more pro-Trump voices. Yeah, pay Coke Jr. $40 million a year to fish on your network. Totally legal, though, folks. In a statement to the Daily Beast, White House Communication Director Michael Wolff is a lying sack of shit. And must be, and has been proven to be a fraud, but obviously this is true. But what can you say, folks? No checks, no balances. Nobody's going to hold them responsible for anything. There are no laws anymore. And then apparently they're going to get a huge payday if Trump does seize Greenland, which it appears he's going to do. Some of Donald Trump's biggest campaign donors and investors, who collectively have hundreds of millions of dollars in financial ties to the U.S. president, are positioned to potentially profit from any American takeover of Greenland. The administration is in part aiming to secure rare minerals that are essential for the U.S. tech industry and national security, and to potentially reopen oil and gas exploration. Of course, that's what it's all about, folks. To rape the land, to steal the natural resources from the people of Greenland for our oligarchs. Obviously, we already knew that from the fucking beginning. And they'll probably do it. That's exactly why they want Palestine too.